Hey Chelsea, how you doing? Welcome back to Music Meltdown, the music rating, ranking, and reviewing show here on the Used Tubs. I I am Camden, the cool, awesome, amazing one, and this is Adrienne, my friend who let me do the intro again. So welcome back, the Album a Day Project.
Yeah, this was April. This month kind of sucks. Here's the thing. There are 8 records here that I think are great. There are about 3 more albums that I really like a lot. The rest of this month, I don't care. Straight up. Like,
I
there's some
liked this
good
month.
stuff. There is some other really good stuff, but I just don't care about it that much. And you're gonna like it because we got a bunch of bullshit pop stuff.
I liked this month a lot more than they did. Let me tell you. But I had a good time. I had a good
Somebody fucking had to.
time. It's gonna be May.
No, that was February. I don't even
Yeah,
think
but
that it was on the album. No, yeah, it was on the album.
was it on that album?
I think it was on. That was No Strings
I,
Attached, right? Yeah, it was on the
yeah, I
album.
want to say it was on that album. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't good, but it was on there.
that's one of the better songs on that album, though. I gotta
Better
tell you,
is
even
still bad.
even being the big boy band guy, I gotta tell you that album was kind of trash.
Oh
All
fuck.
right, you
All right.
ready?
Am I starting it this time or are you starting it? I
Go
think
for it. I did the intro. I
yeah,
think you
you
should do the
you yeah,
first.
you started out the ranking last time
Yeah.
too. So all right.
Oh.
Everybody knows how this works. Do our bottom five, then we do our top five. It's a great brush soda. Anyways, fifth on the bottom for me. I didn't expect to dislike this as much as I did. To clarify, I have 2 albums here that I think are just okay. I have one that I think is pretty lousy, and then I have 2 pretty bad albums. So at the bottom for me, it's going to be Cleopatra by the Lumineers. Shut up, man.
No,
Sounds
I'm just I get you not liking it. I'm just shocked it's that low.
it's just so disinteresting. There's nothing notable about the album. To clarify, I didn't think going into this that I really cared that much about like hooks and melody, but like that's what I've realized about so much of this is there's so much like lacking of good ones. I couldn't tell you anything about this album because I listened to it like in the middle of the month. And all I remember was I didn't really like the singer very much. He kind of had this annoying sort of overbearing quality to him, like a lot of singers in this style do. It's trying to be this sort of like quaint indie folk style, but it's way too bombastic. It's way too sort of over the top for that style. And it's short, but I mean, it's just none of the songs are good. Which a record that you expected to be in my bottom five, Let the Dominoes Roll by Rancid, it just missed because there was a really good song. They have one good song according to me.
What is it?
Good job. It was like the weird country folky one in the middle of it. I actually thought it was really good here. Let me
My
figure out
favorite
which
Rancid
synopsis.
song is on that album. It's Last One to Die. That's my favorite Rancid song.
Yeah, that was a song on the album. Civilian Ways. That Civilian Ways was very good.
Oh, that one actually was really good. That caught me off guard because it slowed
Yeah.
it down a lot. And I mean, I thought it worked.
Mm-hmm. But that's what caught me off guard because typically their songs don't work. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, yeah, Cleopatra by the Lumineers. It's a 2.5 to low 2.5. It's fine enough, but I mean, no real reason to listen to it on your own decision. So, bottom five.
Oh wait, I forgot we alternate. Still to me. My um my top of the bottom is Joni Mitchell with Blue. Yeah, I know. Um, it it didn't really have a sound I like. I don't really know how to describe. Every time I try to describe a genre of an album that I don't know super well, it's always wrong. Like last time I tried to call something jazz, like it's R&B. So I'm not going to attempt to describe what the sound is, but the sound isn't one that I particularly care for. Um, this album wasn't even on Spotify. I had to go onto YouTube to listen to it, and now I keep getting recommended Joni Mitchell, and I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of that. I gotta tell you, it didn't leave that much of an imprint on me. I just remember listening to it and be like, well, that kind of sucked. It wasn't the worst thing, but I definitely wouldn't listen to it again. And then I wiped it from my mind. So I don't really have much to say about it. It was an album I listened to this month. Joni Mitchell Blue.
God,
Okay.
you are just fucked. You're just no good.
I'm a bit of a silly goose.
There's a difference between silly and bad. And no.
I'm not a bad goose.
There's something, man. Anyways, just above there, I have the record Hot Food by Jack Stauber. It just kind of sucks, to be honest with you. It's really generic, really boring. It's said to be bedroom pop and lo-fi, which I'm just gonna do a rant right here. Any person that says that they like lo-fi music is a fucking moron. That's not a genre. That's just somebody who decided that they didn't want to make a well-produced, well-performed album. Like, just straight up, there are points in time in which a lower quality production can help an album. But if you're purposefully going into it, making this sort of poppy, sort of softer style of music, you want that to be polished. You want that to sound good. You don't want this half-ass sort of, I'm going to leave it a little bit underdeveloped so that it has this identity to it, because it doesn't. It's an entirely anonymous album. The dude, his voice isn't great. It really starts out bad, then just sort of mellows out. And they're just, like I was saying about Lumineers, there isn't any catchy choruses, there isn't any strong melodies. It just sort of floats by, consistently just being slightly irritating enough to where I can't zone out from it, but equally not interesting enough to where I can actually get anything good from the experience. So I have it 2.5. There's nothing actively poor on it. Just the album itself is actively mediocre to a fault. It's a pop food.
I gotta be honest, I disagree with a lot of your takes there, but
It's an unfortunate fact, I know.
no, it's that album I think was trying way too hard to be weird. Jack Stauber, I don't know a whole lot about him, but I've seen a few of his like videos and a few of his like other songs like that. And I don't think that he's really necessarily a musician, more so as like an artist kind of thing. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, there's people who make music to like be different. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like the song
I get what you're saying, but on that album, it is just not the case.
no, I think that that's the case in a bad way, because I feel like he's not really trying to make music. He's trying to make something different, try to make something artsy, you know. And in my opinion, music, I have the same philosophy about movies. The moment that you try and make it into an art project and no longer a craft, it's ruined.
The
If you're trying
artist,
to,
the artistry is a part of the craft.
no, 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 no,
That's
no.
inherently a part of music.
I don't know how to describe what I'm saying. I'll leave the point. I'll leave the point. But
Good call.
I I really like this song. I don't know how to pronounce Oklahoma on that. That's what I knew going into it. I like that song a lot. I think it's like it's a fun song. It's kind of deep. It's kind of like deep isn't like sound, not like deep. It's very shallow. Uh, but like it's I don't know. I like the sound of it. I was expecting the whole thing to kind of be like that. The title track is a song off, or not title track. The first track is a song off of TikTok. I didn't realize that's where that was from. That was weird. And then the rest of it was super forgettable. There was another song that I thought was pretty good, but no, I agree. It was not what I was expecting at all. I gotta tell you, I was pretty disappointed by it.
Stunk.
Anywho, my number four is "Stand" by Sly and the Family Stone.
Fuck
Um,
off.
Oopsies. Um, I gotta tell you, I listened to this one last night, just yesterday. Should be super fresh. I could only tell you one song off that album, and I'm not allowed to say the title of it. Um, and let me just say, okay, that one song doesn't sound. Okay. It sounds like it's trying to be this like meaningful piece of like you know someone's take on like racial injustice, the way people talk to each other, kind of thing. Like there's a meaning to it. But it just sounds like a couple of 14-year-olds who just learned what slurs were and won't stop calling them each other that. And once you hear that, it's kind of hard to take the song seriously. Um, I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this take, but I gotta tell you,
You should.
was not a fan of this album at all.
Any element of groove or just funk or just anything outside of for lack of a better term, white sphere of music is just lost on me.
Whoa!
You
Yeah,
quite literally
listen.
have now had 5 R&B solar funk records in your bottom 5 that are consistently considered among the top of it. I understand it not being your scene, but to consistently call them boring or dull whenever you have such incredible playing and such unique instrumentation, I think is just really.
I don't know. None of it ever strikes me as unique.
And that's fine.
They,
But
all of
at the
them kind of
same,
sound the same.
that's fine. I understand what you're saying. But the stuff that you're putting above it is where the issues come into play. Because that is the most generic filler ass pop music I can think of.
I likes what I likes.
Likes better things, dog. Anyways,
You're right.
Avril Lavigne, Let Go. Shit fucking blew. Let's get this out of the way. You got the 2 big hits. Complicated. Absolute horseshit. Just a really awful, painfully generic 4 chords. Pop songs. Then you have Skater Boy, which I think is just truly dreadful on pretty much every level. You were a boy and she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? It's terrible. And then most of the deep cuts on here are just like shitty ass Alanis Morissette. Like I expected it to be more kind of pop punk, more alternative, but it's not. It's just her doing a really bad modern pop music take at the time that has like a slight edge of post grunge to it. Vocally, she's not interesting at all. And lyrically, this album is just absolutely disgraceful. I just want to point out a certain bar from later in the record. I'm not the milk and Cheerios in your spoon. I'm not as simple as here we go, not so soon. I might have fallen for that when I was 14 and a little more green. It's amazing what a couple of years can mean. Okay, so the Cheerios line is disgusting, and the rest of it is just really generic pop fluff. And I don't have an issue with fluff. I don't have an issue with pop music. To clarify, I have Maroon 5 songs about Jane incredibly high on my list. I have no issues with pop music at all. My issues is when it's so blatantly commercial and lacking of any true identity that it becomes drab, it becomes pointless, which is where this album often finds itself. It's just incredibly mind-numbing. Songs aren't good. It's aged like milk, and it's just not enjoyable to listen to. Avril Lavigne, Let Go. I wanted to turn this off my stereo as I was listening. 2 stars.
I think it's funny that like your points I almost always agree with, but then you rate it so much lower than I do because I agree with most of that. Honestly, it was, you know, Avril Lavigne has this name of like being a punk princess. Oh yeah, but like there wasn't a lot of punk on the album. It was mostly pop. Like, and I didn't make the connection until you said it, but yeah, it does kind of sound like a crappier version of Alanis Morissette. Um, but I enjoyed it more than you did for sure.
Yeah.
My number 3 is The Cure with Disintegration.
The fact that that one is higher is what surprises me more than anything.
Don't worry.
No, I know it's coming later.
I have a whole rant, and I'll do
moronic.
it with the other one. I'll say now, fuck The Cure.
You are the only person that I have ever.
I'm well aware, and I really did die on that grave, on that hill. I am in a grave.
You're fucking. To clarify, for this, I do think that you got worse Cure records. I think that if you had listened to A Head on the Door, you would have liked it far more. It's far more poppy. It's far more polished. It's far more fun.
Maybe.
These ones are a bit more of the atmospheric, a bit more of the ambient to a degree type of material. And I know that that's inherently not going to land for you at this point. However, you got Robert Smith. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a generic white guy name. That means nothing to me. I don't know who Robert Smith is.
Yet you know who fucking Colony House Dude is or whatever.
No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you their names either. The only people who I can tell you are in a band is 21 Pilots, Big Time Rush, and the Shins, but only the lead singer because I love James Mercer. That's it.
And I don't have to say anything more. Very good for me.
You're welcome.
Divide by Ed Sheeran. Just really terrible.
Stop.
Nobody.
Shoddy.
It's more just vapid, obnoxious pop music. And to be blunt, I don't hate Shape of You. I think that might be the best song on the album. It's still mediocre at best because every other song on here is horseshit. Just calling it as it is. Galloway Girl is one of the worst constructed pop songs I've ever heard. The fucking flute or whatever the hell is going on in the pre-chorus and right after the chorus genuinely is one of the worst sounding things I think I've heard for this entire project. I would take the shit hitting the toilet sound from that Fishman's record any day of the week over that because it doesn't sound as synthesized and just processed to hell like this does. Ed Sheeran is an entirely disinteresting vocalist. He has nothing of intrigue going on through any of his songs, and it just kills them. And more than anything, he's not a good writer, and mostly he is a terrible rapper, which he does far too much across his career. For whatever reason, he incorporates a bit of hip-hop onto this, but his accent, I'm not trying to sound rude in this, but his accent ruins any strong flow or great melody he could have through it. He just sounds like he's doing a shitty spoken word poem, which is basically what he's doing to begin with, but he's not even really writing anything meaningful enough to get it going. And past that, there's just so little going on. I'd say that this album has far lower lows than what my number 1 at the bottom is going to be, but at the same time, there's just so much less interesting about this album. I don't know. It's shit. It's really bad. Divide by Ed Sheeran. It's really not good.
I'm a sucker for some pop music, and I agree.
Pop music.
I agree. There's a lot of like not great stuff on that album, but Ed Sheeran makes me feel pretty, and that's what matters.
You're not pretty.
So I'm so pretty. Ed Sheeran tells me so.
You and Madeline Peterson.
Shouts out to Madeline Peterson. Can I get a what?
No.
All right. My number 2 is 3 Days Grace with 1X.
Not being at number 2, I mean, yeah, because I know what you're going to put at number 1. But that's fucked. That's really fucked.
What? My number 1 or my number 2?
No, the fact that this is number 2.
Please don't fuck my number 2. Get it like a poop. No. Anyway, No, I didn't like this one at all, really. Trying to remember, I don't think there's any songs from it that I particularly liked. Um, the whole thing just kind of sounded like wallowing, like, oh,
No,
woe is
that
me, life's so
no, that
bad.
was
Wah,
in January.
wah, wah. Ah, hi. But I don't know. At least for me personally, I think that like I don't know. If all you can do is be mopey, you're not doing a super great job as a writer. I'm all for some like, wow, things are pretty bad right now. But like when your entire album is just everything sucks, life is so bad, I should die. Like, what's the point in making music? I don't know. I don't know that one. Three Days Grace, 1X, Great Crush.
You are missing just so little in music if you're this like distraught at the fact that somebody didn't write an overtly happy song. Like, not everything
That's
is going to
that's
be
not what it's about.
okay. Then the worst, without fucking shadow of a doubt. What was the shit even called? The Chronicles of Life and Death by Good Charlotte. It's it's everything wrong with pop punk as a genre. There's none of the punk here. It's essentially all pop. The singer is horseshit. There's not a single memorable riff or guitar part. Nothing interesting musically, lyrically. Once again, just really borderline, just juvenile, and not even in like a fun, endearing way. Just in a you don't know how to write a good song sentiment. And just straight up, there's nothing good about it. It's too polished for its own good. This album. I get that you are a pop punk band with the pop being emphasized first, but you still need to have at least some snarl, some grit to yourself, but they just don't have that. And to be blunt, it was just annoying to listen. I have it at 1.5 because I acknowledge that it isn't my scene anymore and that I was never going to like it. But at the same coin, you could at least, you know, just try and be a good pop writer. I don't hate pop music, and I'm going to keep reiterating that. It just has to be done well. You have to have good songs to balance everything out. And most of the time, there just aren't good songs here. It's a good show. It's at the dead bottom. Let's talk about porn now for some reason.
All right. I like Piper Perry. Not as much as I used to, but that's the name that I usually think of first. Um, no. Um, yeah, no. My bottom is Pornography by The Cure. Um, this was actual torture.
Fuck
Um,
off.
I absolutely hated this album. Um, not a no. I'll say it. No redeeming qualities. Um, easily one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life.
Can't hear anything that you're saying.
0.0. My ears were bleeding when I took my headphones.
Anyways, I'm not even going to acknowledge that shit because I know just how befuzzled you are with anything that isn't a basic pop song.
They don't have to be basic. I got some taste.
Says the guy who had American Authors, Big Time Rush, and Colony House, and the Mowgli's, and probably keep going, but I just don't remember off the top of my head because I can barely remember the albums.
That's right.
I'm glad that you agree with me. Anyways,
Wait.
at number 5, a bit of a similar thing. To clarify, we're on the best now. I talked about how bad pop punk can be with Good Charlotte. Let's talk about how great it can be with not even really a pop punk record, more of an alternative rock album. My Chemical Romance is the Black Parade. As I mentioned in a previous video, the sort of emo, the sort of alternative scene is really what got me into music. This being one of the heavy reasons why, because I think it's a fantastic alternative rock record. The end channels back to Bowie's 5 years in a brilliant way. Dead is a really hard charging rocker with a killer guitar solo. And that's probably one of the things I'm going to remark the most about this album is Ray Toro's guitar riffs and solos on here are just so good. You have him just going all over the place, really just excelling in a genre that isn't well known for that. You have Gerard Way, who's just belting out, singing his heart out with so much passion and charisma that it's hard to really deny it. You have the title track, which sounds nothing like the record, but the guy above me really likes because it sounds nothing like the record. And the rest of it, there's just some really fun stuff. I think Mama and Sleep are really great, theatrical. I think Famous Last Words is a really unique way to close the record. Absolutely adore Cancer, totally tugs at the heartstrings. I can say how Ron Camden is, but I'm going to leave it to interpretation because we know him enough. You don't know how wrong he is. And with that being said, it's just a really outstanding record, really the apex of the scene, and by far the best thing that My Chemical Romance ever did. So it's my number 5. My entire top 5, actually my entire top 8 are going to be 4.5 stars, all great records, 9 out of 10. So now let's hear this guy talk about fucking bleachers or some bullshit.
Ha 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 ha. Listen, I want everyone to know that I got ridiculed at the end of last month for how samey my top 5 have been. And admittedly, I see the pattern. I saw it. So this month, I try to be a little more open about like, wow, I enjoyed this. In fact, some of my things switched up at one point, and I was certain it was going to stay in there all month. I had Mother's "Oh My Heart" in my top 5, and it's no longer there. It got bumped. In fact, something that I already listened to even ended up getting up higher, and that's what I'm talking about now. My number 5 for the month is Childish Gambino with "Awaken My Love." That's not something that I would typically listen to. It is very like space. It's like space. I don't know how to put what I'm thinking into words, but it's just like you feel it's like an out of body experience listening to this album almost. The way that the music is kind of just like a mixture of like I say here I go again trying to describe sounds without naming genres because I always get them wrong. But it's I don't know, it's like mixing hip hop with like soul and like I know. And no, but and like
You're right this time. Good job.
what's the word for like
Are you thinking like anthemic, like operatic?
I don't know what either of those words mean.
It's like has kind of like a choir feel to it, like a church. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's a good point, but that's not really where I was going with it. I don't know. It's hard. This album is honestly, it is. It's hard to describe. It's just like so offbeat and weird, but in a really good way. I love Donald Glover. He's one of my favorite people in all of Hollywood, all of the whole entertainment industry. He is stupidly talented. And it really shows in this album. There's that one song where it's like which one is it? It's like dun, 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 la 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 la. And like I really like that part. Anyway, Childish Gambino is my number 5.
Yeah, that's the issue with that album because I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. I don't think he's a great singer. I think he's a good singer, and he works well for the music. But the songs aren't great. They often kind of meander, go on a bit long. I know that we were talking about earlier, which is why I'm kind of surprised because we both seem to be kind of in a similar boat, you being a bit higher. I should have expected you to like the Mother record more. These are both 3s for me, these albums. So I mean, I don't really care which one you preferred. So, I mean, I'm glad to see this is the most positive you've been to anything sort of soulful. So, I mean, Baby steps, I guess.
I had to be. I had to be.
3, 2, 1. Troy and Ahmed in the morning, and we're back.
Never seen an episode, so.
I just finished season 1 for the second time today.
Okay.
All right, hit me with it.
All right, back to this is the only one. No, there's one more. Residential album that was in your bottom 5. Your 4th worst is my 4th best. Sam by Sly and the Family Stone. I expected this to be even higher for me, but a bit of a spoiler for if I ever do this catalog. This might not even be in my top 3 favorite Sly and the Family Stone records. This is definitely their most. How it's described is funk, progressive soul. It's just a really excellent album. Title track Stand is lovely. Don't Call Me, I can't say it. And I do get what you were saying because it was a bit of a deterrent whenever I was first getting into the album. But the thing that you are missing is groove. And this album is just, it's funky, it's groovy. Just bounce around when you're listening to it because these bass lines are just so good. You got something like Somebody's Watching You, but you have great pop songs like Everyday People, and You Can Make It If You Try. There's like an 11-minute just killer jam in the back half called Sex Machine, which is just, the playing on there is just exemplary. And I love just Celestin as a frontman. He's not a great singer. He's definitely the weakest singer in the band to me, which I know some people love him. It is what it is. But he's just got such frontman energy, and this album is kind of, I've heard in a sense, like a utopia, because you are definitely on the right track. This is a very politically based, a very hard-charging record about equality. And I think that their message is really just excellently performed and excellently put out there. It's not too overbearing to the point in which you don't want to listen to it, but they say enough to where you're able to just hear everything that they're saying. And they get even more in that direction when their following release, There's Riot going. But here, I think, is whenever they have a great blend with their pop sensibilities, with their really great sort of jam band essence. Really just amazing stuff that is totally lost on you because the song was longer than 3 minutes. So, Stand by Sly and the Family Stone.
I don't dislike when a song is longer than 3 minutes. I dislike when a song is too long with nothing going on.
That is not
if a song is longer than 3 minutes and can be condensed into 3 minutes without losing anything, what's the point?
I agree with you. I get what you're saying. The issue is that can't be done on these songs, and you can't even slightly make an argument for it.
I mean, I could. I would just get told I'm stupid and I have the wrong opinion. So
because oftentimes you do, my friend.
That's valid.
Oftentimes you do.
All right, let's see. My number 4 for the month. Lots of bias here. Lots of it. I have Bug Hunter's Bigger Than Myself.
I don't think being at number 4 surprises me.
Well, it's my least favorite Bug Hunter album.
Okay.
I think it's good, but his other 2 albums, in my opinion, are just a lot better. There's some standout ones on here with I really like Pebbles and Pine Cones. I think do a really good job of encapsulating what I like about Bug Hunter so much is the almost youthful, childlike way that he kind of presents very real problems. Pebbles is a song about like growing something. Actually, every album has a part where they say the name of the album. I think it's really cool. But he's growing something bigger than himself. He plants pebbles to grow planets, and I think that's a fun concept. I think the song is really good. I think the lyrics are really good. Pine Cones is about avoiding your problems. Instead of dealing with them, you climb into a tree and throw pine cones at people. And I like that a lot. I relate to that a lot. It's just, but there's also a lot on here. I don't really care for like Safe Word. I don't really care for Magic 8 that much. Magic 8 is a tricky one because I love the concept of it. He actually made this song as like a gift for his brother as like a wedding present almost, I think, or it was for his own wedding. I'm not super sure, but like you can kind of hear it in there. It's really sweet, but the song itself isn't super great. I don't know. There's a lot on here that just kind of loses me. I think the song Braggin kind of does the childlike nature in a way that I don't like, because the whole song is kind of using kind of showing off in a way that isn't um I don't know, I guess for lack of a better term, douchey. Like not being like a oh look at me, but like hey look at this thing I did. But he uses like birds as an analogy, and I don't really like the way he does it on that one. And I'm a righty. All in all, though, I think it's a great album. I love Bug Hunter, but his other ones are just a lot better. And compared to other stuff that we listened to this month, I don't think it holds up as well against my top three. But I do like the album. It's pretty good. Bug Hunter, bigger than myself.
Yeah, I know he's your boy. He's your chap. He's your
My Chiba
lad.
lad.
Um,
I'm gonna go see him in concert this summer.
I'm gonna make you very happy.
Oh boy.
It was not in my bottom. No, it was in my bottom 10, but it was ninth from the bottom.
That's what? I'll take it.
Totally hate it.
Listen, if you don't totally hate that one, I think that you'll probably like the other ones a lot more. Because like I said, that probably is his weakest album.
I disagree because I don't like him. He annoys me a lot. Just how he writes really annoys me. And the way that he sings, it's so over the top. It's so just like theatrical in a sense. And I don't dislike that. I'm the person that just had NCR on my top 5. But it doesn't suit the music at all because he's doing like this gentle indie folk thing with like this acoustic guitar strumming. And it's just like the way that he sings them doesn't fit the music.
Just wait till we get torn between a couple and you get to hear him comment on that. You'll appreciate that. Anyway, what's your next one?
Then number 3 for me. I love this album. Love synth pop. Talking about pop music. Love it. Talking about Power Corruptions and Lies by New Order. Really early synth pop, sort of icy sound. And I've said it before, it's my absolute favorite era of this style. This band is what came out of the remnants of Joy Division. And to be blunt, they do everything that Joy Division did, but with a halfway decent singer, Bucky and Curtis. But anyways, I just think the songs on here are just absolutely fantastic. I think that they have such great pop structure while having really interesting and varied musicality to them. It still has a bit of the post-punk flair, hi there, Advil, while having a great sort of punk energy and a really unique style to them. Age of Consent is amazing. I love We All Stand. Ecstasy is a great one near the end, Your Silent Face. I just think they had so much fun. It's one of my favorites in the genre, and I can't get enough of it. So Power, Corruption, and Lies by New Order 3.
That one was pretty good. I don't really have any strong feelings either way on that one.
Yeah. I know some people really don't like his voice, and I kind of get it, but I think he really suits it. I think where he lacks in range, he makes up for it in performance. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. I understand. My number trace is Tell Me I'm Pretty by Cage the Elephant. Hey, Cage the Elephant. You're pretty. Job well done. I like this album a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I've always wanted to get into Cage the Elephant because when I was a wee lad, when I was just a small chap growing up in Ohio, my family used to play this game called Borderlands, and in the first one, it opens with a Cage the Elephant song, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. And I love that song. I'm like, heck yeah. And then I found out, oh, this is a real band who makes real music, not just this one song from a video game. So I put I don't know how many they actually have, but I put the 3 ones that I've heard the most songs off of in our list. My mom actually listens to a lot of Cage the Elephant, so I've heard a lot of these songs in circulation. Classic Brie. But I didn't realize some of these songs were from this album or that I remembered them. So it was kind of like this neat treat of finding a new song, but a song that you already know almost. I don't know. It's a unique experience of that. And so a lot of that album was kind of equal parts nostalgia, equal parts finding a new band. There was a lot of good stuff on here. I enjoyed Mess Around a lot. I think that might have been my favorite. I don't entirely remember what the track list is off the top of my head, but I remember that one being really good. That Cold, I think was the name of one of them. I don't know. It's just a good time. I don't really know how to put it into words. It's just it was a fun album. It was personable. It was a good time.
I think you just start reading scripts before we do this. I think it'd help out.
Maybe.
But anyways, yeah, the album was really boring. Didn't really.
What? Tell me I'm pretty?
Yeah, really dull. However, I think a large reason of that is because I knew a Caged Elephant record, and I think that it is very good, being Melophobia. By far.
I'm actually really excited for that one.
Yeah, it's really good. I think that'll be spun out for next month. Or no,
I want to say we did.
It's a little bit later in the month. Not even like close to my top 5, mind you, because there's a bunch of really good stuff in there. But the album is really strong. The issue, however, is I think that this album loses a ton of character. It's pretty just by the books, pretty bland, a bit poppy. I don't have an issue with that. I just don't think they do it well. So yeah. Number 2. Based on how we've been talking, I have a feeling this is your number 1, and if not, you're going to talk about it right after me. And the Air Guitar by Sobs. We're so close. Or maybe we weren't at all. Your number 1 is fucking.
Wait, this is your number 2 or your number 3? 2?
I already did number 3. This was my second or third favorite album of last year. I think it's really, really good. Just incredibly fun, sort of indie pop, alternative styles. I think not really a ton to say about it. I think it's just a total blast all the way through. I know track air guitar. I think that her vocals are really great as well. I don't really know what to say about this one. It's just a lot of fun, which is the best way to put it. It's not really a complex record. It's not really a difficult to listen to sort of affair. It's just really strong indie rock with a great power pop influence to it. And you can't recommend it enough. So, Air Guitar by Sobs, number 2.
Don't worry. If you don't have a whole lot to say about it, I sure do.
I have a lot to say about one song.
But not yet, because I want to emphasize.
Oh, I know what your number 2 is. Okay.
My number 2 is Port of Morrow by the Shins. And I want to emphasize, Port of Morrow is one of my favorite albums of all time. It is my favorite Shins album. It is fantastic from start to finish. Every song is good. Some of his best songs are on this album. Port of Morrow is phenomenal. And I want to gush there before I start the real, like, here's what I like about it. And just kind of lets you understand how much I love this album before we get to my number 1. So you understand, okay? Port of Morrow by the Shins. Let me tell you about this, okay? Port of Morrow. Hold on, I'm pulling this up on Spotify. I'm pulling it up. Call me the gang, because I'm pulling up. Rival Spiral is okay. It's fun. It's not super memorable, if I'm being honest. But it's a good way to start off the album. Good way to start off the album. Simple song, one of his best. So good. Love that song. It's Only Life. Right here. So good. Bait and Switch. Bait and Switch is okay. Bait and Switch, I think, actually was the first song off this album I ever heard. It's a good song. It's okay. September, one of the best songs he's ever made. No Way Down was in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. We get introduced to Andrew Garfield's. We get introduced to Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker to No Way Down by the Shins. Do you know how freaking awesome that is?
Sorry. What a flash. Good morning, Parker.
You know how freaking awesome this song is? Is it No Way Down? For a Fool, that one's okay. Fall of 82, one of the best songs ever. Right here. 40 Mark Stressy, so good. Are you gonna let these Americans? I like the way he says that. and of course the title track Port of Morrow, great song. Listen, Port of Morrow is a hit after a hit after a hit. Probably the best Shins album. I know you don't agree, but I love the Shins, and I love this album so much. Number 2, Port of Morrow by the Shins.
Yeah, I thought that I liked that album more, to be honest with you. It went down a bit for me. Number 14 of the month, to clarify. I think that it's really good.
Really?
I like it. I like every Shins record a lot. It's probably my least favorite, if I'm being honest with you. But
what, Port of Morrow is your least favorite?
Dude, Oh Inverted World's way better. Shoots has better tracks. Once in the Night Away is a better individual record. It's between that and Heartworms, and I think Heartworms has slightly better individual songs.
That's so funny that you say that because my ratings definitely flipped.
We'll get to that in May. We'll get to that.
Oh, that's right. Spoilers. Oh, I don't know why I did it like that. We're gonna we shoot spoilers.
We're not reshooting this whole thing.
We're
gonna have to do the first half.
And I'll be fine.
Number 1, a record
now.
in your bottom 5. And I think it's pretty obvious which one it is. And this album really upset me that you didn't get much of it at all. And I don't really see why, based upon what I was telling you. What do you think it is?
No, just go ahead and say it, because I'm probably wrong.
Pornography by The Cure. I'll wait for him to get back. All right, I'm fucking with you.
Oh.
It's actually Disintegration by The Cure.
You know what?
What if I told you it wasn't that either? It's Blue by Joni Mitchell.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how you would react. I didn't expect you to eat a raw brick of ramen, but it is what it is. I'm surprised that you didn't like this one because we've talked before how you really like at some points like this more gentle, this more somber style. And this is like a really beautiful sort of acoustic, sort of pouring your heart out record. It's very based upon her own personal tales and her own stories that she's written on her own. And she is just a brilliant vocalist. Joni Mitchell, one of the all-time great female singers. And on this record, she's just pouring out some of her best material, to be honest with you. You got tracks like All I Want, which is a great opener. I think A Case of You is one of the best written songs ever. River is beautiful. There's one track near the end that I think is a little awkward, but past that, it's really front to back. Just a serene listen that I can just put on at any time. And it's short, too. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it does everything that I want from this sort of singer-songwriter record. So number 1 is going to be Blue by Joni Mitchell. I didn't think this was going to be my number 1, actually. That Sods had it there. It was until like the last quarter when I re-listened to this album that it took over. Now, we're going to wait until you finish your ramen block to talk about this last record.
No.
Good time up there, Buster?
Listen.
No. Listen to you enough.
Let me get you all on the same train. Ready? We're going to flash back real quick. It's December of 2022. Okay? And we're getting together this list of all these albums. We got probably about 200 of them in there at this point, right? And homie says, well, I had air guitar by Sobs. And I said, what the hell is that? And they said, it's pretty good. I think you'll like it. And 9 times out of 10, when they say, I think you'll like it, they're wrong as shit.
It's not my fault that I thought that you had better taste than what you really do. I gave you far more benefit of the doubt before this.
However, Air Guitar by Sobs is one of the best albums I've ever heard.
Yeah.
They listen, I ended up getting gushy. I ended up looking them up. I found they actually made a music video for the title track Air Guitar really good. They're from Singapore, and you would not have guessed that with the way that she sings. English isn't even her native language, and she sings it like she's been speaking it since day one. Her voice is immaculate. The fits perfectly with the instrumentals and the sharp guitars almost. It gets somber on some later tracks. Like, this is as perfect as you can get for like a pop record. Like, holy crap. I don't remember what month it was. I think it was last month when I gushed about, or no, it would have been February, I think, when I gushed about After the Disco by Broken Bells being like this song that's like, at that time, I would say it was probably the best song that we've heard from this project so far, just because I like the way that it like clicks. I described it better last time, but it's like, clicks every time you think it's gonna go one way, it does. It's a very satisfying song. It's really good. Air guitar beats that. The title track from this album, Air Guitar, is so far the best song from the Album a Day project, in my opinion. It is so good. The chorus specifically, the way that like Tracy, they come back, and then the way she says "sweetness of my cherry pie." Oh my, dude, this album is so good. Anyway, my number one is Air Guitar by Sobs.
So how do you feel about Tom Hardy's Bane?
Huh?
How do you feel about Tom Hardy's Bane?
I haven't seen that one yet.
You've seen The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Here's what I've always heard. I've heard Andrew Garfield is a very good Spider-Man. He's a very lackluster Peter Parker. That's what I've heard.
I've come to accept the fact that they're all very different in their own way. I think the first Amazing Spider-Man movie is really good. The second one is very, very hard to defend. It's probably the only Spider-Man movie I genuinely don't like. I don't know, but Amazing Spider-Man 1 definitely gets points for having a Shin song in it, let alone one of the best Shin songs off of one of the best Shin records. So, Andrew Garfield is okay in my book.
I'm just gonna ask. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
What was it just outside of your bottom five?
Just outside my bottom five?
Actually, just bottom and top five. I'm curious.
Let's see. 6 on the bottom was Oasis.
Okay.
What's the Story of Morning Glory?
That was great.
I don't like that guy's voice.
There's two singers on there.
I didn't know that. I couldn't tell the difference, so I don't like either of their voice.
Listen to Wonderwall, then listen to Don't Look Back in Anger. They're very different.
I don't think I will.
You should, because that was one of the best albums that we heard this time.
And then I think those are probably all the bad ones. Everything from there kind of up is a little bit more just like, eh. I had Big Star with #1 record. That one, I don't remember it being bad. I just gotta tell you, I don't remember anything about it.
Well, I expected that to click a bit better for you. Yeah, I'm not a big Star fan. I know there are some people that love him though. So.
And then I had New Order, Power, Corruption, Lies. That's another one. I didn't hate it, but I don't remember a whole lot from it. And then I had Maroon 5 with songs about Jane. Quick side tangent. Listening to Maroon 5 makes me uncomfortable. Adam Levine
Train doesn't.
No, let me explain. Adam Levine has a good voice. He's a belter, and he does a fairly good job. In some parts, it gets kind of annoying with how high he sings, but for the most part, he's a good singer. I like it. I can dig it. The instrumentation is usually really good. Problem comes with the lyrics, because while most pop music is about sex and things like that, they're a little bit more screened and less obvious. If you're just singing it, it would be like, oh, fun, and then it's like, oh wait, this is like about anal. And then
to be fair, this entire album, it's songs about Jane. It's about an ex-lover of his. That's the entire plot of the record.
I get that. Completely get that. The problem arises with how explicit he is about it. Because while most pop artists will be like, I wanted you bad. He was like, I wanted to eat whipped cream from your butthole. like obviously it doesn't say that exactly, but like it's like that's how in depth he gets. Like it
No.
feels. I feel uncomfortable listening to him talk about it. You
I
know.
don't think that dude ever got that in depth. Back to the ramen, I see. Alrighty.
So good.
Well, a couple of the ones that just missed my bottom 5. I had Let the Dominoes Fall by Rancid. You saw my Let's Go review, pretty obvious. My Tummy I'm Pretty by Cage the Elephant. 1X by 3 Days Grace. Probably would have expected that to be my dead bottom, but there's like a certain cloud of nostalgia I have to it, where it just sort of consistently played for me whenever I was really younger. I kind of like the hits, and I think he's a decent singer. Just it's aged not great. And I have Bug Hunter on my heart. I was really let down by this Bleachers record. I liked the first one a lot, and this one was just a total step down. It's like you had 80s Jack Antonoff on the first one, and now you have like the modern day Midnight's Taylor Swift Jack Antonoff or whatever he's doing now. It's just not very good. So, yeah. I don't know.
Get Robert over 4.
I know that you said that you spelled ramen all over the floor, but I think I spelled vomit all over this recording, so it is what it is. I was talking about the Doors, because nobody did that.
There's a hair in that one. Just missing my top 5. Yeah. I had On My Heart, Let the Dominoes Fall, Divide.
Fuck off.
And what's this one? Oh, Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player by Elton John. Yep, I don't have much to say about any of those.
The record is not very good. I don't get the love. Don't Shoot Me guts.
Honestly, I've always kind of associated Elton John and Billy Joel very closely. I don't know why.
Yeah, but that's a common comparison.
I can tell you I definitely enjoyed the Billy Joel record a lot more. And I was really looking forward to hearing more of him. And then I found out that's the only Billy Joel record we put in our list.
I will say this. We put in like Billy Joel's best record. We put in Elton John's 10th best record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't get why Malcolm suggested that one. It's not very good.
We have more Elton John in there, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Maybe Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, but that's the only one I can think of. Well, no Elton John to listen to. I put a 3-hour episode on him this weekend. But click. Plug.
Dang.
Number 6 for me, I had Pornography by The Cure, your favorite. Number 7, I had a record that actually grew on me this week. I had Aladdin Sane by David Bowie. And at number 8, the last record I would consider great this month. Oh, shit. I knew I would have to say this eventually, and I was pretty sure it was going to end up in my top 5, so I'm glad I didn't have to defend that. It's Songs About Jane by Maroon 5. I love this record. I think it's just such a blast, such a fun pop record. Got like a really strong funk sort of R&B influence on here. It's really cool. I like it a lot. Number 9 for me, What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis. Number 10, your favorite band, Panic at the Disco with Pretty Odd. A lot of people say this is like their Beatlesque record. It's not. It's just a bit of a sort of folky affair from them. I think Brendan Urie, like or hate how he sings, I think he's a very good singer. And yeah, just really great songs on there. Out of curiosity, you had Enema of the State in your top 5 initially. How do you feel about this Blink 2 record? Because I think this one blows Enema of the State out of the park. It's not even close.
I completely disagree.
Well, it's okay. We've established how wrong you are most of the time.
No, I feel like this one wasn't bad. Pretty good. But I think it just lacks the iconicity and replayability of Enema of the State. I think Enema of the State had a lot more like stuff that I'd be like ready and willing to go back to.
Is it because they grew up? This is a notably more mature record, I would say.
I mean, genuinely, that could be it. I mean, you know how I am. I like the kind of more, I guess, youthful outlook on life, and I feel like the kind of more older and cynical you get, the less I'm into it. You know.
I'm sorry. It seems like I'm really breaking you while you're down or whatever.
No, you're like
really
you understand why I like music more than I do, so I like hearing it.
So yeah, that was that. I guess there was also the Doors. The Doors are fine.
I liked the Doors more than I thought I was going to.
I liked them less than I thought I did.
They're like, I think, almost dead center.
I had it at my number 17. So, a little lower. Alrighty. But yeah, there was Lord. It did a Lord episode. And
Lord's mid. That album was mid.
I really like that album. That was my number 12.
That was actually right after Songs About Jane for me.
Anyways, this was April. This month kind of sucked.
I liked it.
It was pretty high on the top. So, yeah. Really hope that you enjoyed everything. We got about 3/4 of the way through a ramen block, so that's pretty good, I guess. You'll have a great one. Bye, Chelsea.
Bye, Chelsea.